Well, welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Believe it or not, with all the snow on the ground, we're going to be planning out our gardens today, planning out at least the location, the general location of where they're going to be. We've had to do this at several homesteads. This is the third house that we have started new garden systems at, and so we've got a few tricks and tips and things like that we use when we're looking for the best place to plant a garden. It is a snowy day. It is almost the end of April actually, but we won't be really planting anything in the ground until May here in Michigan. But this is the time, or even before this, when we want to start planning things out, getting supplies ready, what we're going to plant, how much space we're going to use, and where we're going to put our gardens. And so how do you determine the best place to have a garden? What are the requirements? What are some things you need to keep in mind? So we're going to go through those things, and I've got a trick that I'll show you how to determine the sunshine in whatever location you have on your property. Spring has begun to push things through the snow here. And warm temperatures are coming soon, I hope. So this is the lower level terrace or area of our property. We have a very hilly and wooded property. This is kind of a staging area for wood processing, wood splitter, maple syrup evaporators over there on the edge. We've got this big ravine here. And actually one of our most awesome resources on this property is all of these oak trees. It's 75% or more oak trees, white oaks in here, many of them fairly mature. And so we've got a great resource of acorns and firewood and timber and all kinds of things like that. But it also is kind of a negative here for us when we're looking at gardening, because there aren't very many places where the sun will shine through and give us a good grow space. All right, there's three main things that you need to consider when you're locating the optimal garden space on your property. Number one is going to be soil. So if you're going to be planting a traditional garden, obviously you want to pay attention to the soil type that you have. If you have, an area that's like got nice black rich soil, it's wet sometimes of the year, things like that, you can pay attention to that. If you've got real sandy barren places, maybe that's not a great place to have an in-ground garden. So you want to pay a little bit of attention to the soil type. Of course you can amend soil, you can add compost and manure, you can add peat, you can add sand, you can do lots of things to soil to add it, but you do want to pay attention to the soil type, and kind of that will determine a little bit of your area where you're going to place a garden as well. The other thing is going to be water. So this is a huge one. If you do not have a good source of water, you may have a great field at your property or a nice area that's flat and clear and gets lots of sunshine and good soil, but it's 100 yards away from a water spigot. That's going to be an issue. So you need to either think about getting water to the location where you're going to have your garden, or you need to think about moving the garden closer to the water source. If it's hard to water, if your garden is difficult to get water to, you won't water it as much. It's just going to happen. Life is busy. Things happen, and your produce isn't going to be as good. And especially times when you're gone on vacation or other things like that, things can die off in a week if it's hot and dry. So water is a huge consideration when you're trying to figure out where to put your garden on your property. And the last one is a big one. This is sunshine. So the very minimum amount of sunshine that you need to have for a decent garden is going to be 6 hours per day. We're dealing with a lot of trees here. That's going to be tough, but we're going to whip out a little tool here to see if we can figure out the best spot. But you do need to have a good area that has sunshine. So you have to pay attention to where the sun is in the sky. Is your house shading your garden? Are you planting it right next to your house? Is it shaded half the day? Is it on the north side of your house where you're not going to get very much sunshine most of the time of the year? Do you have a lot of tree cover and other things like that? So you really want to pay attention to the amount of sunshine that you can get. So we have an app here that's going to help us determine where the sun will be during different times of year, and that'll help us determine if we need to cut down some trees here, or if we have a place where we can put this garden. So we're looking through the camera view of the app here right now, and we're looking in the south direction from where I'm standing. This is an app called Sun Tracker, and you can, I think I actually purchased this, but I believe there's a free version as well, and it is definitely worth it. So this is looking at the horizon here, And if we look up a little bit, we can see the path of the sun. So we are April 19th today. Right now we're at about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and so we can see the sun is somewhere behind the clouds, right in that general area. And as we go up throughout the daytime, so about 12:30 it looks like, we're going to clear that tree cover right there. So we got 12, 13, 14, 1500, that's 3 o'clock, 16, 1700, that's 5 o'clock, 1800 we'll get some light through there, that's 6 o'clock, and then 1900 we're going to be covered by the trees here. So I'm standing right now in the place where I have considered having the garden, and so this time of year the sun is a little lower in the sky, and so we're definitely gonna hit quite a bit of tree cover. So let's move the date here and see if we can pick up a date a little bit later in the year, about the time we're gonna plant. So let's move to May. All right, so now we're at May 15th. So this is usually when we plant. See, the arc of the sun's path has moved a little bit, so we're actually covered by that tree a little more. So maybe if I move forward a little bit here, move my garden space up a little bit. Okay, we're clearing that tree a little better. Now let's move into June. So we got June is the highest the sun will get. June 21st is the summer solstice. It's like we'll clear from about 12 o'clock over to, I'm going to call that clear up to about 1800. We'll get some decent sunshine. It'll be filtered, but it'll be coming through those tree branches a little bit. So that's about 6 hours. Not great, but about 6 hours. We've got these trees right here that are definitely in the way from a morning sun. Now you can fast forward this to any time of year. We can go August, September, and see as the arc of the sun starts to come back down lower where we're going to be. Of course, in September we're going to start to harvest, but right in this area we'll just be clearing the tops of those trees for some of that time, but not all of it. So it does look like these trees right here, we've got these kind of 3 white oaks here. That would definitely be beneficial to cut those down and give me another hour or 2 of sunlight during the day. Also, it looks like over here, this tree right here could go. That's covering quite a bit of the evening sunshine in the middle of the summer. I could get up there and trim the south-facing branches off. That may do the trick, or I could just cut it down. So this is the area where I was standing here, right in this spot when I was looking at that sunshine. And so if I put some garden beds, out in this area, make this my garden space, it looks like I will get about 6 hours, so not great. If I cut a couple trees down, I can get up to probably 8 hours of sunshine in this area. So this looks like it'll probably end up being my garden spot. The further I move up here, the more sunshine I get in the middle of the year. But then towards the end of the season, the beginning of season, I'm actually shaded by the trees to the south there. So there's a sweet spot right in here somewhere where I think we're going to get the most sunshine. I literally have nowhere else on the property that's clear. This is all forested, so we may have to cut a few trees down. This year, we'll see how things grow. We'll see kind of how things actually play out in real life with our sunshine here. And I might be able to see exactly what trees are shading the most as the season goes on, and maybe trim a couple back or cut a few down. We've got plenty of oaks. I don't mind losing a couple, and plus we always need more firewood. So I also have another spot here I want to show you guys. It's down by the pond that might have the best of all 3 of our garden requirements. So there's been a couple discussions that the SSL family mom and I have had about this little space down here by the pond. This is half our pond and half the neighbors, so we share this pond. It has a lot of very, very green grass down here by this whole area. I would have to trim back a lot of these branches here, but it does get pretty decent sunshine, so it's kind of clear, filtered light for a lot of the day. I don't think we get quite as much sunshine here, but I have a feeling the soil is much better down by this pond. I have a feeling this is just rich soil. So I might end up using this space for a traditional type garden, and maybe we'll till up a patch along here, and we'll grow some corn or maybe a tomato set or something down here. So we'll experiment down in this area too. We also have this great resource of water right nearby. I could even throw a pump in here and pump up some water for these garden beds, which would be pretty awesome. Pond water is filled with nitrogen and all kinds of different micronutrients and things like that. So this would be probably a great resource. I am a little worried about the runoff from the road, though. They do spray the road for dust and other things, so this might be filled with some chemicals that we don't want, so we'll have to research that a little bit. So if you're looking to plant a garden, you got to pay attention to those three things. Do you have good soil? Do you have access to water? And I think most importantly, do you have access to a decent amount of sunshine? If you get 12 hours of sunshine in your area, it's going to be amazing. Of course, you do have to pay more attention to water if you have that much sunshine, because it will dry the soil out a little more. But the more sun you have, the more those plants can photosynthesize, the more nutrients they can uptake, the more leaves they can grow, the healthier the plants are going to be, the more fruit they'll produce. So sunshine is your number one priority. We have some challenges here on the woodland homestead. We've got a great resource of trees and hills and other things here, but that causes some challenges for gardening here. So we're going to start to figure out how we can overcome some of this here. So stay tuned, of course, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see how our gardens turn out. I've got some raised bed garden ideas here that we'll be putting together and putting in place here pretty soon. Some that we're going to purchase, some that we're going to build, and so stay tuned for how we kind of set this all up. We'll do a combination of traditional gardening along with raised bed gardening. We've got a great soil mix coming, and so stay tuned for all those things if you're interested in that. That'll be coming up over the next couple months here, lots of gardening stuff. So don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video. Of course, if you have questions or comments, things to add or things to ask, throw that stuff down below, and either somebody else that's following along or myself will be able to answer those questions and share our responses with everybody else. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.